We going with it?
Yeah.
This is the one.
This is the one.
All right. Well, if that's so, the one, episode 1. Welcome, everybody. This is a new and hopefully upcoming podcast for Keyforge called Cutthroat Research. My name's Ryan, and I'm here with my friend Tyler. We decided to start up a podcast, try to find some way to contribute to the community more than just playing tournaments, and we both have a love for the game, so here we are. Tyler, you can introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, I'm Tyler. I like Keyforge.
Yeah,
I started playing, I want to say, probably at release. I heard stirrings of it before release, but wasn't one of those people who got very invested in it until it actually was at my game store.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time showing people the game and trying to build a community because I think it's a unique game.
Yeah, absolutely. Unique is definitely one of the stronger words for it. No other card game really compares to Keyforge in a way that you can just be like, oh, it's just like this or it's just like that. It's a little bit like everything, but also like none of them at the same time, and it's kind of that's what makes it pretty great in my opinion. But yeah, we're just jumping in. We're just going to discuss some of our Keyforge history, some of our general background in card games and competitive hobbies and stuff like that, and hopefully just wrap it up with some goals for the future of the podcast, and maybe if anybody has any suggestions to things they want to hear or talk about. I know a big thing's going to be Gen Con this weekend.
For sure.
So I'm sure the next week or two, whenever we get together to record again, there'll be a big Gen Con recap, as well as some general discussion. I'm sure more ruling questions will come out from the weekend as well. So what about but before Keyforge, you want to go over some of your general your life of card games or your career in card games?
Yeah. I've been playing card games for as long as I can really remember. Like, it started with Pokemon when I was like 5 or 6.
Did you play Pokemon or did you just collect them?
I did. I played Pokemon. They used to have tournaments at like bookstores.
Yep.
And we had a couple local shops that had tournaments. I was one of the kids who actually knew how to play. And then after that, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was still a kid.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
Originally.
Because, I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little bit and then started again, I think in high school, a little bit.
Yep.
And I played pretty competitively. Like, nothing crazy. I didn't have any major tournament wins. But I played with a group of people who took the game seriously. And, I mean, that's like you said, that's where we met.
Right.
And it was that was really dipping the toes in the competitive games. I played the Naruto CCG competitively too.
Yep.
My play group was, from at least what I understood at the time, one of the best, some of the best players of the game, period. I think one kid locally that I played with, he was, they called it like the Hokage rank.
Yep.
It was like the top rank you could get in it. He was that when the game ended.
Gotcha.
So
very cool.
He was very into it as well. And then I played Magic too. That's everyone's default card game.
Yeah.
And I still play Magic, a little bit of Commander, but it's mostly been shifted towards Keyforge since its inception.
Sure.
Just
nice.
Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, so me and Tyler definitely met during a Yu-Gi-Oh era. I collected Pokemon. I collected Yu-Gi-Oh. I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh and kind of just kept all my stuff from when I was 10. And right around high school, I jumped back into the game, and that's when I first picked up the game and tried to play competitively. Nothing spectacular topping-wise. I mean, I topped the first ever like TCG Player Open that they had for Yu-Gi-Oh in Orlando. But I think that was like top 32, and I got like 18th or something. I've never topped a YCS, none of that stuff. But I played competitively. I tried. I won my locals plenty times, and generally like would top them consistently. Anyone who does play Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm a big like Infernity player. I like Chainburn. I like being that kind of person, and it is what it is. A lot of people hate it, but I respect it. It's been done to me, so I don't have a problem doing it to other people.
Yeah, I definitely took took things more competitively and tried to. Like, I know in Magic in specific, like there was like probably like a 3 or 4 year grind where me and my buddies were going to like every event in the state that we could make.
Yeah.
Just trying to be those people.
Yep, absolutely. And I too, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For a few years, and then I stopped, and I tried playing about a year ago. I got a bunch of cards and kind of got back into it, and I got bored of it after like 6 months and kind of sold everything. So my girlfriend plays Magic. She used to play Magic a lot, and she wanted to start playing again, so we started building commander decks together. We dabbled in Standard a little bit, but we definitely both have like our own commander decks, and we're slowly upgrading them over time. So we both play that as well. And then Keyforge, Tyler himself pretty much got me into Keyforge. Him and a closer community of my friends who all used to play Yu-Gi-Oh with me kind of stopped going to the local store, and Keyforge was what brought them back. So I was like, hey, if I get to hang out with all my friends that I used to hang out with, and Tyler and Floyd and Danny, I'm sure we'll mention their names as the podcast continues anyway, so it's kind of hard to like avoid it. But those all those old friends are all playing Keyforge now, so I was like, all right, I'll jump back in, and I've loved it since. The house aspect is cool. The houses are cool because it's got that archetype aspect that I loved in Yu-Gi-Oh, where like Infernity and Blackwings, and even now there's like pendulums and all these crazy archetypes, whereas Magic kind of has that. There's goblins and like there's like races and stuff that kind of have that archetypical style to them, but the Keyforge houses definitely make me think of Yu-Gi-Oh, but then the play of Keyforge, even though there's no mana base, feels more like Magic because there's more preparing for future turns, whereas I know nowadays Yu-Gi-Oh is just my hand and make big board, and that's kind of the way the game is.
Anything about how Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is weird. I played it like a year ago.
I've been playing strictly Magic for probably the last like 5 or 6 years.
And I just got into Magic, so I need to like
I actually
learn all that.
Dropped off like 2 years ago, maybe. Around the it was like 2 rotations ago where I just decided I was putting too much time and resources into that over other aspects of my life, and
right. But that definitely can happen. I've been through that with Yu-Gi-Oh and League of Legends and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's hard to find that life hobby balance.
Oh yeah,
it's an important balance to have.
Oh, it is. It really is. Some people that don't have it, and you kind of know who those people are, either at your local store or at big events that you go to. You can kind of tell who has their stuff together and who doesn't. But even then, so like outside of card games, I mean, I know we both go to the same comic shop that we've gone to forever. But what other hobbies do you have that may end up spewing over into the podcast as we discuss things just in general life? I know you play guitar, you play a lot of music.
I used to play a lot of music. I don't really do much with it nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice hobby, but it's really gaming. I haven't even really played that many video games lately. I used to be big into that too, but board games, I've been a big collector and player of board games more recently.
Nice.
Tabletop gaming in general is just a passion of mine, and Keyforge I just feel is a very accessible game. It brings a lot of balance in a weird way to the card game archetype.
There's like the paywall is so extreme, and by that I mean like if you're gonna buy the best deck, yeah, you're gonna spend money, but realistically it's no other card game can say, hey, you can spend $10 and have a deck that may or may not be just as good as anybody else in the room. Like that doesn't happen in card games. Other people are like, oh, I have to go build my whole deck every new set and spend all this money and upgrade and keep up with it, and that aspect of Keyforge is not there in Keyforge. So I think that is a strong argument that the game has so much potential, and it is so fun.
I find that Keyforge is a hard sell because the points that you end up loving about it are the same things that kind of drive people away initially.
From playing it, yep.
Because I even remember with you, like, I kept saying, like, oh, you should try this out. And you're like, oh, I really like deck building, though.
Yeah.
Or, like, I really like trading. I really like...
I love trading. Like, even in Yu-Gi-Oh, like, I would go to events for the sake of trying to make a few $100, swapping stuff out of my binder, flipping cards, making money. Like I enjoyed that more than playing the game. I definitely had a vendor mindset when I went to those bigger events, but... yeah, Keyforge, I definitely was like, well, what am I going to do with these decks that suck, or these decks that don't do anything? And I still haven't used all my decks now, but that doesn't even matter because the amount I've spent on Keyforge, like scaling with the quality of decks I've gotten already feels like I've gotten more value out of it than any other card game. Like the good decks that I have make up for the money I've spent, which I haven't dove too deep into it, because I found a few decks that I really like, but they're starting to get their chains on them now too, and I gotta plan ahead for future tournaments myself. But I definitely, I feel you with that. It's a double-edged sword where that sounds like a great thing and a kind of gross thing at the same time, trying to figure out, like, well, I can't do anything. This is the deck.
It really is something that people have to, like, you have to get them to play it for them to understand, and you have to get them to play it a couple times.
Yep.
Like, because
they have to find what they like about the game, because everyone likes something different.
Yeah, once you hit those games though where you like start going off, so to say, where like every turn you're like, oh, this is a big play, this is a big play. Even if you don't win those games just feel good.
Yeah, they're fulfilling.
Like,
even if you lose, like knowing that you got like, you could lose a game where you got like 20 amber in a turn, and you're not even gonna remember that you lost that game. You're gonna remember the time you got 20 amber in a turn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like there was a game where me and my opponent like 2 weeks ago were both playing the Binate Rupture Interdimensional Graft combo, and we just ended up doubling each other's amber and stealing the rest like 3 turns in a row, and that was the entire game, came down to those 3 turns. But we had something ridiculous like 38 amber by the end of it. Like we were taking big piles,
and you'll never forget
back
that
and
game,
forth
dude.
from each other.
Exactly.
I ended up losing, but like it was just like, so who cares? Like, it was just, like, such a weird thing to happen within the scope of the game.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But, no, Keyforge, I haven't been able to travel as much for it as I've liked.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Vault Tour Atlanta, which was sealed, and it was the weekend before the release of the second set.
It was before,
I believe.
I don't remember how much.
But, I had a great time. It was me and my girlfriend kind of made a vacation out of it, and we went to did other things in Atlanta as well. But for the Vault Tour, it was I was kind of worried because you get a big head. Like we played locally with like the same, I don't know, dozen people back and forth, off and on, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not good at this game. Maybe I'm just the best of the losers. But that definitely was kind of like, oh, it felt good. I ended up making day 2, and I think my overall standing was 10th place.
Wow,
and it was just excellent. Like a good.
You said it was like just under 200 people, right?
Yeah, it was like 168, I believe was the exact number.
Yeah, I mean 10th place. That's still.
It was a cool feeling. Like, okay, I know what I'm doing with this game. It kind of
being in the top
validates the time you put in.
Yeah,
because I've definitely spent a lot of time like researching and listening to podcasts.
Learning, yeah. Absolutely, information gathering.
I've consumed probably all the content there is out for it right now.
Yeah.
Through other people who are making YouTube videos and podcasts, and that's kind of what made me want to get with you and do something like this.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we have, between us, I think each of us was like the missing puzzle for the other one in a sense of like a podcast, because you have the audio know-how and I have some of the computer know-how for if anything else goes on, and I think the thing is both of us kind of have our own personality when we're out and about and at the cart shop, and just like talking into microphones and sitting in this room definitely feels strange, because I feel like some of the conversations we have right now aren't conversations we haven't had before, but the fact that they're not being shared with just us is like the awkward thing.
Guys.
Yeah, like it's gonna be new to the people that listen to this, and shout out to all of you, anybody who takes the time to listen to this. I truly appreciate it, and hope you can give us some good and solid feedback as well. But yeah, I just think that having this out there, and as we play more, and I try to catch up to your knowledge base, because I haven't done anywhere near as much research gathering as you have.
I'm crazy. When I get into something, I really do dive like full force into it.
I do that in like doses. Like every day I can dive into something for like a good like 2 hours and just like fully focus immersion like to that like extreme degree. But like it's really just time. Like even if I have like a day off, I can't do it for more than a few hours because I just get brain drained like super fast now, even on the weekends. Like
time in general is just hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to make all the other pieces of your life fit together.
Yeah.
It can be hard to find even a few hours a day to take care of some stuff.
And when games take 30 minutes, you're like, man, if I play once a week, it doesn't feel like it's enough. But when it's all you have, you just take it for what it is and make the most of it. You know what I mean?
That is another thing that I do like about Keyforge is once you have a good grasp on the game, like our tournaments every week last at most 2 hours. Like,
yep.
Whereas,
and that's with 8 people even.
If you're going to like a draft for Magic with 8 people, you're going to be there for 5 or 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like, I mean, people in draft are building their deck, but even then the rounds are 45 minutes instead of, 35 for us? I think, right?
I think it's 35, for Archon, 45 for Sealed.
Yeah, so like they have longer round times, but like even then most of our games rarely go into time. Like maybe once per tournament we'll see a game go into time.
Yeah, we've got a solid group of like 6 to 8 regulars who really know what they're doing, and
a few stragglers.
Yeah, and I know we're focusing on trying to build a bigger community, trying to get some more crossover play from other gamers, other people.
Convince the Magic players to come play.
At least some of them, yeah. Because it would be cool to have a little bit more of a turnout. We're not like struggling to fire events or anything, but
yeah, we definitely have a tournament every week, but it's like you play against the same group of 5 people all the time. It's like we could just go to someone's house and do this as well. Like, yeah, you want to, I mean, I'm going to go support the local game store and stuff, but like a lot of people have to drive up there and meet, and then for him to run in.
The thing that kills, like, it doesn't, I feel guilty about it in a way, is like, I preach about trying to build a community, but then, you know, the game store that's like 45 minutes away, just because of the time they hold it, like I find myself never really being able to go unless like all the stars line up correctly.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to drive 45 minutes to an hour by yourself because you want to try and carpool and split some gas with people. But like their tournaments start at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and like the middle of the week too. It's not even a Friday or a Saturday. It's like
just they do have trouble firing. So that's the part of it that makes me feel guilty, because I know their group of players don't even get to really play unless we show up with like 3 or 4 people.
Right, and I that's one tournament that I just frankly am never going to get to. Like for the way my time is and my work schedule and everything, like I'm just never going to make that tournament. I've accepted that, but like you said, there are some people that can make the drive out there, but those people don't get their tournament on the day that they have it, and then also don't come to our tournament. That's the same distance from, you know, them coming here is the same drive of us going there. So we're just hoping that we can get some more people locally who are a little bit closer that attend the shop regularly to start playing. I know we're going to our tournament, our regular local, later today, the day of recording. And I know you plan on handing out some decks to any new players and trying to get people more motivated to show up and hang out. I tried to like make an incentive. I've bought a ton of decks since the beginning of this game, and I have a ton of great decks that I have a deck that does a similar thing better. And I just frankly won't get to play these decks that are still good. There's like nothing. There's not enough time in the world to play all of them.
But it's like I have my pet decks. I know what I'm looking for now. And it's like why? So I made a Facebook post on. We have a local group for all the people in this area code basically. And I said anyone who comes today who hasn't been there in 2 weeks or hasn't been there at all, I'm going to give them basically a tournament level deck, like a deck that could do pretty well. Right. Definitely at locals, if not at a bigger event. And just definitely. This way, if they feel like they don't want to invest in the game, at least they have a deck they could play for a couple weeks, see if they like the game.
Right, and if they're showing up to play with the deck, or if they're showing up for the first time and they don't have a deck, you know, you're supplying them a deck to play, so they're only paying their entry fee, not a deck plus their entry fee, just to try the game out and see how it goes. Worst case, you lose 2 hours. Like, that's not a lot of time for most hobbies. Trying to get into a hobby, like getting a solid experience in 2 hours and knowing whether or not you want to continue with it is you can't do that at a Magic draft, like you said. Like, that's like a whole day endeavor. You have to dedicate that whole time there unless you leave early or what have you.
But I know a big point of this podcast is just kind of make more content for people to consume, because like you look up on YouTube, you look up Magic stuff. There's like a channel.
What Tyler's trying to say is he's run out of things to listen to, and he'd rather listen to himself talk about Keyforge.
Well, so not only that, but I want to like spark maybe more of a
discussion,
emotion.
Yeah, definitely something more of like if our YouTube comment section turns into a forum of just people who want to talk about things, ask questions, like that's fine. If we need to,
I mean, we spend every Saturday basically talking about Keyforge for like hours after the tournament anyway.
Yeah, we're always hanging out.
So
Saturdays.
if we can extend our community from like the 6 or 7 of us that meet regularly,
just another perspective,
to more people who are like, it
Trying
never
to
hurts
learn.
to have more opinions.
Yep, absolutely.
And it never hurts to have more people who are like-minded
100%.
or not, like just
100%.
come in
I was
and
gonna
talk.
say, even if you don't agree with anything that we say throughout the entirety of this show, like, we want to hear it because we want to see your perspective too. Like anything we say is our perspective on it and our opinion on it, but like those other opinions are what make a community. Like, no community just all dead set agrees on like one thing forever, true and true. Like, some people do, but there's always going to be that one person who thinks otherwise. And like that person having that outside the box or thinking differently isn't a bad thing, like, at all. And that's what we want. You know, we want people to see that in the community and put everything up for debate.
For sure. I think civil debate sparks growth.
Yep.
Like, absolutely. And I also, like, a big goal for this is I want to help broaden the community. I want to help maybe like newer players who aren't sure like where to get started in Keyforge, like,
right,
keep them from making the same mistakes that were made by like me. Like, there were tons of things like, have you gone back to like your first deck you played?
No.
And like replayed it?
No.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like you look through a different set of eyes once you kind of
understand the game more. Yeah.
Yeah. Once all your cylinders are firing and you get how the game works now, and you go back to the deck you maybe learned the game on.
Yeah.
And it's like a different world.
It feels like a different deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I had a deck that had library access and Nepenthe Seed. It was like the third deck I opened.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this deck's kind of cool, but I didn't know anything about the game. It ended up in a box somewhere as I bought more and more different decks. And then by the time that blew up, I was just like looking through my decks to see if I had any cool cards, and I was like, oh, I have this crazy combo deck. Look at that.
Nice. Yeah.
Back when it was a combo.
Yeah. Pre errata.
It's still strong. I mean,
it's still pretty good, but the errata is definitely rough. It takes a huge toll out of the combo for it.
But I know that, like, I want to do the podcast for people to listen to, maybe on your commute to work.
Oh yeah,
or
that's
on your
always
break.
the best. I listen to podcasts on the way to work every day.
Yeah, I have a lot of like administrative time in the morning, where I'm just counting money or doing just basic computing stuff before the store opens, and I always have a podcast on while that's
absolutely. And I definitely agree. And like you said, we're gonna try to do some gameplay videos. I know we're already in process of getting a stand or a better mount for some overhead recording. We did record a couple games today, so we're going to go back and review that footage and maybe upload it. But we want to be able to record some games and do some kind of live commentary, cut the audio out, and we'll sit back and hang out at another point, or just one of us, and just kind of review the gameplay, kind of look at mistakes or things that we think could have been better. I think that, like you said, there's not enough of that specific content for Keyforge in the community right now. So we're gonna try to flood that space a little bit with more gameplay and just something you guys can watch and maybe learn something or teach us something, because either one of those is a good thing for everyone in the community.
Yeah, there was one of the gameplay videos we recorded today. I actually do definitely want to go over and record audio over and upload it, because I made a huge play error that I recognized immediately.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things I was ahead of myself. I was rushing.
Yep.
And it could have been the difference between, like, I think 4 extra amber or something like that. But it's also going to be good to go back and like watch games you play. See like what weird habits you have.
Yeah, and that's what streamers do. Like, even people who stream Magic the Gathering Arena, or other people who stream just like Counter-Strike or Fortnite or League of Legends, like, those people, at least in their early days, they would absolutely go back and watch their gameplay footage of their recording games and their streamed games, because it's one thing to learn from someone who's already good, but like, you'll see yourself mess up things that are like, you think you know how to do, or you think that they're basic, and you don't realize it, and sometimes you'll catch yourself making little errors that you didn't even see during the game. And I feel like that's one of the best ways to grow at any hobby, is being able to review your own work. And that's like the gateway to doing it.
Once the tunnel vision is lifted and you look at how many times have you been spectating a friend playing any game and you're like, man, why'd they do that? That seems wrong.
Yep.
And it's either that they have knowledge you might not have that they're thinking of, or they're just
Right.
tunnel vision. They just didn't see the other line of play because they're
Right.
so focused on...
They saw that one path because this one card's been in their hand for 3 turns, and they know that they need to maximize how much they need to use it. Like, they need to use this card as efficiently as possible. So in doing that, they don't realize that these other 3 cards is a synergy that does the same thing or something. You know what I mean? Like, their mind just gets too focused on one thing, like you said. But damn, I lost it.
But if you guys have any suggestions too, things you guys want to see, just topics you want discussed.
Yeah, if you feel like anyone who's already creating content for Keyforge is missing out on something, or you need more detail on something, just let us know, because we're open to creating any kind of content that we can that's gonna help you guys.
I know I know the Crucible Online is supposed to be getting worked on for AOA.
Yep.
I know I have Tabletop Simulator now.
Yep.
I want to see how clunky or good that is, so streams might be a thing in the future. If not, definitely recorded gameplay.
Yeah, recorded gameplay is locked in, and streams are dependent upon when a good client comes out. Because I know the people who did it on TTS said that they were making their own separate Keyforge client, but
oh, that's cool.
I don't know. The release date's supposed to be mid-August, but you can't really say for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong, TTS is great. It's just I feel like it would be a long process.
Yeah, everything being manual would make games take 3 times longer.
I know it wouldn't somewhat scripted, but the Crucible was that guy's crazy. Big ups to him for being doing that by himself,
keep
and
the rulings
all
going.
those cards to be automated. That's insane.
Yeah, that is a huge task to take on, and for sure.
I know a lot of people are kind of giving him flack because he didn't update AOA, but this is a guy who has a full-time job, probably has a family to feed.
That's just not going to happen overnight.
Adding 300 more interactions, and then with every other card that's already there too.
Yep.
It would be insane.
Oh yeah, agreed for sure.
But we want to pump out some content. We're working on getting some other things. We're going to have a Patreon coming up in case you guys want to support us.
Yep.
I mean, the best way to support us will always be just by listening and talking about it. Share it with your friends, but...
Yep, tell everybody you can. Anyone who likes Keyforge, just send them our way. And like I said, we're trying to do this for you guys as much as ourselves. We want something to do, and we want something to give back instead of just... like we said, we went to Guitar Center and bought mics today, and that whole time we talked about Keyforge, and it's why aren't we recording this, man?
Yeah.
This is all we going. So we're gonna try to do our due diligence and keep this up to date. We're hoping for episodes every 1 or 2 weeks. 2 would be a stretch, hoping for 1 week, but depending on our schedules, yours isn't as consistent. So we'll just have to coordinate, and if we do know of a set day that we're gonna release episodes, I'll make sure we put it somewhere, a Facebook page, maybe a Twitter page if we need to go that far. I'm still learning Podbean, so if there's a way to post statuses on there, I will do that.
Yeah, I think episode 1 we're gonna definitely put up on YouTube.
YouTube for sure.
We're gonna try a podcasting website. I've heard good things about Podbean from Jake from Sanctimonious. I talked to him briefly.
Sure.
And great job to those guys too. They've got 14 episodes down at the time of recording.
Hell yeah.
And they've all been just solid content. Nice. They talk about the community aspect, and it's good. The more of this we have, the more awareness our game has, and that's the goal. But we just want people to be aware of the game. We want to introduce a new love to people. It's a game, I think, that has huge potential to be a big contender over time, just because of how unique it is and the very abstract and different things they could do. I know we've talked about these weird conspiracy goals of they could probably foil out an algorithm for the deck, or add your name. They could definitely add your name to a deck. I don't know if it's something they'll do in the future,
right?
But they've done that for game stores and things at different anime expos.
And that would be pretty awesome if they could do that for, like you said, local game store championships, being first champion, second champion, or something like that, or some way to To give that kind of prize support would be insane. Like
I even
the value
talked
of
about
those decks would be crazy.
Using the algorithm. I thought it would be cool to have like limited sets. Like you go to a big event, like say Worlds, whenever that comes up down the line, like a big huge event. Fantasy Flight's like, okay, you're coming. It's sealed, but it's World sealed, and like the deck list, the set list is from the algorithm that only shows up at Worlds, and maybe there are only cards that are only in the decks at Worlds.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They could do that because of the way the game is designed, and it would lead to feel bads for people who are collectors, but it wouldn't change the game competitively.
Unless they released a card that was like a World deck exclusive that was just like bait and switch level busted. Like that's the only thing that would cause a problem, and as long as they like keep that in check, there's no reason for them not to do something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be
like you said, like awesome. Worlds decks or first place for a Worlds tournament, getting their deck reprinted as a foil, like the whole deck being foil.
I think that might be
wild,
more complicated than people think.
It would be complicated, but it's like something they could work towards. Like if the company takes off and becomes, something to the degree of what Naruto was, even maybe not as big as Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, but it always could. But like thinking about them getting and catching up to where Naruto was when it ended. They could definitely afford something like that.
I think they might already kind of be at where Naruto was when it ended.
When Naruto ended, when Naruto began, like the peak of Naruto, I don't remember how many people were like actively playing, but Keyforge could easily catch up to that, in my opinion, just from what I've seen so far in the game. It's still relatively new.
8 months old.
Yeah, it's still
like officially released 8 months old, and that's the amount of traction it has is crazy for that, and it's. I mean, it's big. I like it. I want it to succeed. I really do. I don't want to see this just be a game that's around for like
a year or two,
and then it fizzles. And I hope Fantasy Flight and the team like take it seriously. It looks like they are. Like they've hired all these people that have specific jobs, and I'm glad that they're taking it more seriously. But I hope the following stays there.
Right.
I think there's a lot of good stuff coming in this game.
Right. Yeah, I definitely have high hopes for the future sets and the future of the game as a whole.
I've played a ton of games.
Yeah.
Like I've like no life days where I've just played games over and over, and I have not gotten burnt out. I might have gotten burnt out on a deck I was playing, but never have I been like, man, I'm done playing this game for a while.
It's always still entertaining.
It always feels like a new puzzle to solve.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it is. Like every deck is a different puzzle. Everyone knows how to solve a puzzle. Everyone knows what the goal is. Get the edges and do the thing like that's. But Keyforge is literally solving a puzzle over and over again. And even though it's the same deck, it's always like you're solving the puzzle from a different angle. Like like one time you're solving it from the edges, one time you're solving it from the middle. And that's like the cards you draw and the way you play and the people you're playing against, and like that aspect is something that doesn't come in other card games to that same degree as it used to anymore, because everyone's just, this is the best deck now, we're gonna buy that and go play that at the event.
Yeah, people figure it out and
that's fine.
They try to exploit it, which is part of the fun of some games.
Yeah, that takes a level of skill that is equally like necessary to be able to manage decks at a high tier level and play the best Magic deck. To win with the best Magic deck still takes as much skill as it does, to play with another deck, unless it's something impressive. But
yeah,
we'll get into that.
Even that, like,
damn you, Ember Imp.
People, like, I feel like people are like, oh, you didn't make that Magic deck, but it's like I feel like there are different types of players, and
they'd run
like that's why there are teams. Like I definitely feel like there are people who are like, okay, your job might be to make the deck, the deck list, while someone else's job is to like teach everyone how to pilot it right.
Right.
But this Keyforge removes the making the deck list part for you, and I like that it forces you to be a better player, because you might have a deck that has 30 out of 36 cards that you're just like, this is great, these are all perfect, and has 6 cards that you're like, when I draw these cards, I'm going to hate myself. Yep. But it's like you have to learn how to either make those work,
make the most of them,
or just find a better deck.
Yeah, you have to replace the deck as a whole and be willing to not use that combo you love so much, or just put up with the crappy cards and force it to work to the best of your ability. And you can still win games with those cards. Like, I don't think any card is like so bad that it's just unplayable in every single sense of the word. Like, every card has one use, you know what I mean?
That's all negative.
Yeah. Like Skeleton Key feels bad, but it's not bad. It's still capsuling. Like, if your opponent's at 6, that's keeps you in the game. Like
For
that's
sure.
enough to say, okay, this is its own piece of cardboard, I guess.
I know the community kind of turns their head at Key of Darkness, but I'm sure that there's going to be one game where someone has Key of Darkness and like an otherwise perfect deck, where they're like, oh, I just won this game strictly because of
the
Key of Darkness.
Well, I was about to say, I played one of our friend Josh's decks that he pulled, and it was like a double Nightforge decks. And I literally Nightforged him twice and won that game. And I
That's
was like,
wild. I've never made that card work.
Yeah, I literally Nightforged 2 times in a game. I had a big Shadows turn. I already had 5 Amber, and I literally, like, I Ronnied him. I played something else. Like, I don't even remember. I Ronnied him. I did something else, and I literally went right up to 10 and Nightforged. I had 9 and Nightforged into the Nightforge, like, 2 separate times in one. And I was like, man, this is the worst key charge, but, like, the deck still works with
I think
it in
Key
there.
of Darkness is definitely worse than Nightforge.
Yeah, definitely, but in the tier, it's next to Key of Darkness for sure.
But yeah, I mean, this is really just an introductory.
Yeah, this was actually a lot longer than we expected it to be, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
so
we got caught
good.
up talking.
At least we know that we can make a podcast last this long. So we're looking at regular episodes being like half an hour, I think we said.
Yeah, like
maybe a little
ideally
over that,
like
but
50 to 30 minutes, depending on what we want to talk about.
Right, the topics
But
of the day and how
definitely
much info we can get on them.
Let us know what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, we want to talk about mechanics. We want to talk about
Rulings.
gameplay.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the rulings. There's a lot of ruling disputes.
I think our first episode is probably going to be a recap of a lot of rulings and
if we agree or disagree.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
them,
our
what's
opinions
good or
of
bad
them
about
and what the consensus is. I would like. I mean, I think as an episode 2, having a one-stop shop to just listen to one place and having as many rulings like confirmed as possible would be like helpful for the community, instead of being like, oh, what's this ruling? Look up this YouTube video. What's that ruling? Look up that YouTube video. If we just have a giant compendium as our episode 2 of like, this is the rule, this is why, agree, disagree, next ruling, kind of just cover like, you know, maybe the top 5 like ruling discrepancies that we've seen in the community so far. I think that would be a good goal to shoot for, and we'll see what happens with the next episode whenever that comes out.
Yeah. In the meantime, if you're listening on YouTube, give us, subscribe. Try and keep up with us. We're gonna, in between the podcast episodes, we're gonna try and have gameplay videos.
Yep.
The quality will go up as we upgrade equipment.
And that's what the Patreon's for. What should be done. I'm gonna say by the time this the next episode is out, by the time episode 2 gets uploaded, I should have the Patreon up and functional. The Facebook page is created, and I will start posting things. Once we do the YouTube, I can go back and edit the description for it and add all of those links in. So give us a week or 2 to get a logo. We're still working on. If anybody has any logo ideas, feel free to shoot them towards us.
You can message us. You could add us on Facebook and message us.
Yep, you can find us on
I'm
Facebook.
cool if you add in my personal Facebook. I'm not hiding much.
My name's spelled wrong on Facebook, but if you find Tyler, then you'll find me. And the same thing, cutthroatlabs@gmail.com if you guys want to send us any emails. Eventually, I'm sure it'll just get used for fan art and stuff too. But if you guys have any like funny Keyforge stories or any questions about the game, if you've never played before and you're looking to get into it for the first time and have some questions, I would love to hear them. It's hard to think about a hobby you've invested in as a newcomer, because you don't really think about the same things that someone who never played before would in regards to what do I need to buy. And
even us coming into the game, like,
we
was
got
probably
proven.
a smoother transition because we both come from card game backgrounds.
We have card game backgrounds, and even if you have a card game background, if you don't know anyone who already plays the game, it's hard to get involved. Like Tyler basically was like, hey, you want to play this game? And I'm like, sure, how do I play? And we played it. We literally played like 2 or 3 games the first time we played, and then he's just like, you can keep that deck. And I was like,
I did that
right.
with a lot of people.
Yeah, you did that with a lot of people.
I was drug pushing some Keyforge decks. First hit's
first
free,
one's
baby.
free. Yeah, first one's free. So yeah, hopefully you guys can find us, and hopefully it becomes more easy to find us as we release more episodes. I'm gonna say we're good to wrap it up here. I think that went pretty well for an episode 1. And hopefully quality improves and continues as we go.
We'll get better.
Yeah, we'll definitely get better. So thank you guys. Thank you anybody who decided to listen to this and hang out for, I don't know how much time it's been, but
however long it's been. Thank you for stopping by.
Yep, thank you guys. And don't forget to subscribe.
Have a good one.
Later.